You probably never want to hear you got that dog in you when you're fighting Brandon Royval. You know, because he's raw dog, and that means he's... Yeah, anyways, he defeated Tatsuro Taira last night in UFC Vegas 98, whatever it is. It was one of those warehouse fights. The card itself was okay, but the main event was superb. It was one of the best fights we've seen on the year, and we've seen some pretty good fights this year, specifically round 3 with so much back and forth that you can't argue with it. It was a great fight. We had 24-year-old Tatsuro Taira, and we had Brandon Royval, one of the best fighters in the division, going at it in a fantastic fight. But Brandon Royval was the winner. So who would you like to see Brandon Royval fight next? There's Pantoja and Asakura who's fighting, which is crazy. Steve Erceg's the last guy to fight for the title. And then you obviously got Kai Kara-France. Their first fight was fantastic. But first, Brandon Royval raw dogged Tatsuro Taira. What a fight. What a performance by Brandon Royval to show that, hey, I am him. I am the guy that's here to show up and be undeniable. And that's part of what you need to do fighting for a title, or getting your way to a title, is becoming undeniable. And he did just that. So what are we going to do with Brandon Royval? And I think that's kind of the question. You know, the title fight itself is weird because Kai Asakura is getting an immediate title shot. It would have been cool to see Asakura versus Brandon Royval and then have Kai Kara-France, who doesn't officially have a loss to Pantoja fight, right? Let's get Asakura in here. But we're getting Kai Asakura immediate title shot. That's fine by me. Kai Asakura's very good. So we'll probably see either Royval sit out, wait for the title shot, which he did hint at doing. There's the Erceg fight. Steve Erceg's dangerous. I know he's coming off of 2 losses in a row now. And then you got Kai Kara-France. Their first fight was absolutely chaos, 100% chaos. And that's one, if you haven't watched it in a while, go back and watch just how insane that fight was. So about his performance, Brandon Royval was insanely tough in this fight. And I say, like, you know, he raw dogged Tatsuro Taira, but what I really mean is, like, hey, that's his nickname. And what he really did was show, like, hey, this kid's only 24 years old. He was out athlete in this fight. He was out hustled in this fight until he needed to hustle more, right? So if you remember back in that 5th round, I had it 2-2 going into round 5. You could have argued for a 10-8 in round 2 for Tatsuro Taira, but there was not enough damage. So we're not going with a 10-8 in that round. So we're 2-2 going into round 5. Here comes Tatsuro Taira. Shoots him a takedown. Brandon Royval gets the reversal. Insanity. Gets the reversal when he needed it most. And he didn't stay in the position. We talk about wrestling all the time, and we talk about how it's important not to stay in a position for too long to allow your opponent to figure out, oh, wait, I need to dig an underhook here and pull up or whatever. You have to go, shoot, and if it's not working, swap. It's the old Khabib plan. We're going to wrestle. Oh, look, double. Change angles. Go off to the back. Up, we're coming back to the front. Up, look, here's a trip. Royval does a lot of that. And against Taira, who's a phenomenal, we're going to talk about Tatsuro Taira's wrestling in a minute here, but he's a phenomenal wrestler. And Royval, you know, he was outgunned in round 2 terribly. It looked like all was lost. We're in the live chat, we're talking, and Denise over there, and he's saying stuff like, oh man, my guy, he's got to pull it out, you know. All hope was just about lost for Brandon Royval after that 2nd round. But then we have one of the best round 3s of the year. Royval comes out, starts hurting Tatsuro Taira. He realizes, hey, Taira doesn't like the pressure, and he doesn't move his head. That's a recipe for disaster for Tatsuro Taira. And it was. Taira shoots a bad takedown against the cage, and Brandon Royval manages to get some elbows in on him. Just an overall fantastic performance. It was the grit. It was the grind. It was the well-roundedness. You know, he was taken down in round 5. It looked like he was all but out. And he gets the win. That's what makes him undeniable. Let's go over to the web for a second here, because I want to look at these flyweight rankings. I want to see just what Brandon Royval looks like compared to the other as a contemporary. So Royval, he's beat Marino. Amir Albazi. Okay, I don't even think, hold on, let's go over to Tapology. I don't think he's fought Albazi, if I can't remember. Speaking of, what is this? Brandon Royval, what in the world? Does he have black lipstick on? No, no, please, he wasn't ready. Yeah, I don't see him fighting Albazi here, but still, Amir Albazi, let's be real. You got Kai Car France, Royval beat him. Tatsuro Taira now, beat him. Alex Perez hasn't fought yet, so we're getting in the top 6. Nicolau, Steve Erceg, Manal Kopp, Tim Elliott, Ulanbekov's coming up, but like none of those guys down here or anybody. Aso Amabayev, none of these guys are going to be anybody Brandon Royval fights. We're looking specifically here. Okay, so he's beat Marino, he's beat Kai Car France. The only one he's got to fight is Amir Albazi. He's beat Tatsuro Taira, and Albazi's fighting Brandon Marino. So, like, wait for the title shot. It makes more sense. I'm just saying, like, it makes more sense to wait for the title shot when they're booked for December. You can take some time off, recover for a little while, and then get you a good long training camp in. I think that is the play. Now, Tatsuro Taira, fantastic fighter. He has a bright future ahead. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you why. And you're going to agree with me by the end of this. Tatsuro Taira, first things first, he's only 24 years old. That's, I wrote a big article about it. Like how being only 24, he has a bright future ahead. And even if he doesn't win this weekend, I said to myself, like, hey, this kid's young. He's got lots of room for improvement. And the skill set he already has is very good. Look how dangerous his wrestling is. Think about it. Going into this fight, everybody thought to themselves, oh, Brandon Royval is an incredibly scrambly fighter. This is going to be a fun fight. It's going to be a fun, scrambly fight because I don't think Taira's going to be able to handle him on the ground. Nope. That second round, we saw just how dangerous an actual wrestler can be at 125. Tatsuro Taira controlled Brandon Royval, the scrambliest of scrambly fighters in the division. Controlled him for 2 rounds. It was 2 rounds of control. I don't think there's any way to deny the bright future of Tatsuro Taira just based on this fight alone. And even Brandon Royval in his post-fight speech admitted it. He knew just how good this kid's going to be. He said, hey, if he needs any help, he's going to be champion one day. Now, granted, think about this for a second. Brandon Royval thinks he's going to be champion one day. That means he knows just how good this guy is. He's only 24. Brandon Royval, 32 years old, something like that, won't be around for those days. And if he is, he won't be at the top. Remember, aging is a big deal at 125. 32 is ancient. But he knows just how good Tatsuro Taira is. So how did he control Brandon Royval? How did he do that? It was a lot of, again, going back to it, talking about you get your shot. So the first big takedown in round 2, Royval comes in throwing his triple jab and he gets on 1 foot. You get on 1 foot against a wrestler like Tatsuro Taira, he's taking you down, and he did. He made sure he wasn't against the fence, and when he was against the fence, he stopped looking for control and started to look to wedge himself in between the fence so Royval couldn't wall walk. It's just brilliant game planning from a 24-year-old kid. And let's be real, he's a kid at this age. Like Tatsuro Taira versus Muhammad Mokaev would have been a fantastic fight. Taira would have bought a great fight out of Muhammad Mokaev, which is almost impossible. But man, this was just incredible. To see him do that, the body triangle from Tatsuro Taira, we see the body triangle a lot now. A lot of guys are starting to use the body triangle to control people from the back. That's where you start hunting your rear naked choke, the highest percentage submission there is in the UFC. So you've got all these options, and a student young like Tatsuro Taira, he picks up on it like that. Now his problems are there, and what managed to lose him this fight was the damage he took, and he took tons of damage. Tons. You don't want to see a young guy taking damage like that. But against somebody like Brandon Royval, who puts out so much volume. Actually, let's go look at the stats here. I don't have UFC stats pulled up because it's not traditionally a site, but UFC stats.com. Let's pull the stats up real quick because Royval is an action fighter. He's constantly coming forward. Here, he only had 124 significant strikes, right? Compared to the Marino fight, 145. The loss to Pantoja, 111, where he was controlled a lot. Quick knockout versus Nicolau. Ooh, maybe I'm off kilter here, but like, I felt like his volume was a lot less. And what's real scary is if you go and you look at these stats. I don't know, can y'all see? Yeah, y'all can see this. You look at these stats. Let's break it down per round because like stats aren't going to tell you the whole story. You think 124 to 42 significant strikes. This wasn't a close fight, right? But you got the control time of 12 minutes from Tatsuro Taira. Those 2 minutes came at a crucial moment, a minute and a half in round 5 down there. But you look at the significant strikes by round. First round, 17 for Royval. Second round, 3. That shows you how controlled he was that second round. Third round, 56 significant strikes. That's where he started to that's that fantastic third round that Taira came back and wrestled him at the last 20 or 30 seconds or minute and 45 seconds of control time. Round 4, 5 significant strikes from Brandon Moreno right here. And then round 4 that is. And then round 5 is 43 and that's kind of where the fight ended. So, Taira, he needs to move his head. He's getting hit too much. Brandon Royval just brings this pace now. From his last 3 fights, he's bringing a pace that is absurd, Max Holloway-like. And Taira, this is going to show him the extremes of how good the division can be. He fights somebody like a Brandon Moreno like that, and it could be a bad day for him. Granted, Royval's the best in the division, not named Pantoja, so great performance from him, and I was incredibly happy to see Taira show that he's a capable fighter, and at only 24 is able to compete with the best in the division, the best 3 fighters in the division. He's one of them, and that's not going to be reflected in this ranking, but he still showed that he has those skills. Jun Yong Park needs to move his head also. Speaking of not moving your head, right? He beat Brad Tavares via split decision, which was kind of controversial. I thought it was pretty clear-cut for Jun Yong Park. But, you're, a middleweight, a light heavyweight? There's some hitters in this division. If you're Jun Yong Park and you want to be a player in this division, you got to move your head. You just got to. Because you'll eventually get clipped at 185 or 205. I'm pulling up trying to see exactly what weight he is. I can't quite remember. But regardless, like he just got tagged by Brad Tavares, who doesn't really have, it was 185. Brad Tavares doesn't have all the power in the world. Incredibly hard to take down. Yeah. But he's fought people like Chris Weidman that had not been able to take him down. Gregory Rodriguez knocked him out. He's a fairly good noggin. Bruno Silva knocked him out. Dricus Duplessis, that was a fight that happened. Omari Makhmudov he beat. Edmund Shabazian he lost to. So Tavares isn't the best fighter in the world, but when you got somebody like Jun Yong Park, who had 3 great rear naked choke wins in a row before his last loss, it's nice to see him get back into the win column. It was nice to see Jun Yong Park get done what he needed to, because he's a fun fighter. He got the whole Master Roshi thing going on. He's got all that going on. So, yeah, great fight from Park. Despite being knocked down, people forget he was knocked down early in that round, in the first round. And I think it was more of a slip than anything. He got caught on one leg. But he did get knocked down. He was fighting from being in a hole. That takes grit. It takes guts. So good to see him get the win, though. I like Jun Yong Park. I like Brad Tavares, too. Tavares, he'll be around. He's a good test for the next level of the division, but I don't see, Park going and being an elite fighter. That's for sure. Not with the holes he has right now, at least. He's got a lot of work to do. Let's see. What else happened on this card here? Let's see. Chidi Njoku and Jared Gooden. I gotta fix my web view, guys. This didn't look right, does it? There we go. Got it fixed. Chidi Njoku and Jared Gooden had a fun fight. Jared Gooden, I got a special soft spot in my heart because he's the first fighter I ever interviewed. Back when I did interviews, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do in this space, and turns out not really much of nothing, but But basically, Jared Gooden came out and he exploded early, something he always does. He had some success getting the takedown for a moment, and then Chidi Njoku kind of just stuck to him against the fence. He managed to make Jared Gooden pay for his explosivity and his lack of gas tank. So if you're going to be very explosive early in a fight, and you got to have a good gas tank. And if you don't have a good gas tank, it's better to not be as explosive. Njoku, I know he's a great striker. He's a scary striker. Yeah, terrifying, right? But when you're tired and you get performances like this to where Chidi Njoku can just push you against the fence and chew you up, because he chewed him up. I mean, with elbows and knees in the clinch. And it wasn't like a Mario Batista versus Jose Aldo knees in the clinch. It was like he's hitting the body. He's coming up top with the elbows. It was nasty. So, good win for Chidi Njoku over Jared Gooden. A good opponent who can kind of wrestle. So I was happy to see him get the win. Let's see. Oh, that fight. Yes, we got to go to this screen because Violent Grant Dawson. Let's have a moment and talk about Grant Dawson. He was on a fantastic win streak at one point in time. Once upon a time, he had his opportunity at the big show to fight a King Bobby Green, however you want to call his name. And then he just dropped the ball. Knocked out early. Huge win streak going for him, too. And people kind of just, Grant, he's okay. He's done. And I completely, if you go and watch the live stream, I completely forgot Grant Dawson actually fought Joe Solecki after that Bobby Green. I thought Bobby Green was the last fight he fought. Grant Dawson's a violent man. He fought Rafa Garcia. He dominated. He just, if you go watch that fight, there's a pool of blood at the end of the second round from the elbows, from the top control from Grant Dawson. Lightweight's a hard division to be in, and he's got this really good style that, he could bring some problems to people. How old is Grant Dawson? Let's pull that up, because that's a curious question. 22-2-1. He's 30, so he has a little bit of time left. He needs to climb the ranks quick. Fights Rafa Garcia Solecki. That 33-second knockout really set him back, but he has wins over Jared Gordon, Mark Madsen, Demirez Magulov. Nadner Amini's an okay win. Trezano's an okay win. His last loss before that was Hugh Pulley, which is a really odd and funny name. But, man, Grant Dawson is great. He has this really weird, he likes to kick a lot, as does every wrestler who's kind of smart, because, what are you going to do? Kick me, take me down? And Rafa Garcia was starting to land on him instead of hey, I'm not going to try and take you down, dude. You're Grant Dawson. I don't want to be on the ground with you, as Brazilian as I am. But what I am going to do is take you down or land on you when you're on one leg. And Dawson does this thing where he throws his knee and a right at the same time. And it drives me crazy because it's ugly. It's not going to hurt anybody. It just kind of catches people off guard. But when he got down, he just laid this beautiful ground and pound that you love to see, that you miss from fighters like Khabib. I won't say he's Khabib level, but the type of game he brings forward is similar to that. I really like the fact that Grant Dawson didn't let Rafa Garcia stay against the cage. Anytime he took him down against the cage or he would drive him to the cage, he's turning him away. He had this beautiful trip, right? So he goes in, the first round he goes in, gets in on a single leg. He's in on the single, he's trying to go down and lay Garcia down. Grant Dawson gets him to his butt, he gets back up, and he drives him to the fence, right? So he's got him on one leg against the fence instead of going from the double. And what he does is he lifts the leg up to where he can sneak his left leg around, and there's only one leg that Rafa Garcia is on, and he does that and pulls him over. Fantastic takedown. These takedowns that Grant Dawson does is just great. Knee taps. He runs the gambit. He's a very adequate and a very good takedown artist, and that's one thing I really like from his game here. It was just beautiful. just aggressive, beautiful. I hope he gets a ranked fight again, because the Bobby Green was a winnable fight for him. He just dropped the ball, like I said. Happy for Grant Dawson, though, to see, him get another win and get back in the win column, or into the win streak column. So he's got that Joe Solecki and the Rafa Garcia win. What else was on this card here? Let's see. I'm trying to navigate the new Tapology page, guys. It's different from what I'm used to. D-Rod beat my boy Alex Morono. It was kind of sad. D-Rod's good, though. He's got good striking and stuff. Ramazan Tarimov beat CJ Varaga. Pat Sabatini beat Jonathan Pierce. I found that a little bit surprising. I thought Jonathan had a hair of a better start than him. Yeah, he was a slight favorite. Thema Garimbo beat Nico Price. It's time for Nico to hang it up right. Junior Tafa got a win, and Justin, I think, fights next weekend. I don't know why they don't just book them all at the same time. Junior and Justin. Julia Polsari and Corey McKenna. Okay. Cody Haddon, 8-1 Aussie prospect versus Dan Argueta. And then Clayton Carpentier had performance of the night with a beautiful rear naked choke technical. I don't remember watching that. I don't know exactly what happened there. But, great win for him as well to, get a performance of the night as the opening fight. Man, you got to be sitting there like, oh, hold on, let's wait for a second. So, great win for Brandon Royval, all in all. I did a write-up, or I will be doing probably a write-up, maybe on Grant Dawson or something here, coming to the Substack, the premium edition of the Substack. So $5 a month, that's a $5 right here. You can get in on that action and get all of the exclusive articles just for supporting the channel. It means I love you guys. Great win from Royval, though. He had to learn to catch the kicks and really punish Tatsuro Taira. Taira did the same thing. If you really want to know about catching and punishing kicks, Rod Tang can do that. And in this film study, we talk about Rod Tang catching the kick and punishing the kick. I know one championship's not the best, but Rod Tang is the best, and he should have won the Super League fight. But don't hate me for that.